Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is December 18th, 2025, and the report has emerged regarding Barcelona's possibility of signing Ryerson, which we talked about him during yesterday's podcast. Also, Barcelona in talks to sign a Club Brugge left winger. And finally, Enric Masip, Laporta's advisor, stating that the possibility of signing Julian Alvarez is real. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the great news that the Finalissima has been confirmed. Now, if you don't know what the Finalissima is, it's a competition that has been reintroduced. It used to exist, I think, in the late 80s and early 90s, but then it stopped. It was replaced by the Confederations Cup, but now it has reemerged again now that the Confederations Cup is no longer happening. But the Finalissima pretty much pits the winner of the UEFA Euros versus the winner of the CONMEBOL Copa America. And in this case, it's Spain versus Argentina. Of course, the last edition of the Finalissima was Italy versus Argentina, where Argentina won 0-3 before winning the World Cup. And now the second edition of this new Finalissima has been announced, and it will take place on March 27th, 2026, and it will take place in Lusail Stadium in Qatar, which will pit, of course, Lionel Messi's Argentina versus Lamine Yamal's Spain. And I have to say, that's going to be one hell of a match. A Barcelona legend versus the future Barcelona legend. What a match up. Now, of course, I want to hear you guys' predictions. Who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Argentina? Is it going to be Spain? Who do you want to win? Argentina or Spain? Let me know down below in the comment section. I have to say, I'm very, very excited to watch this match. I have a feeling Spain's going to win just because they have a younger squad, a lot more talent, where the Argentina squad, since the last World Cup, some players have retired, like Di Maria. Others have, gotten much older, like Messi and many other players. But nonetheless, I think still is going to be an incredible, incredible match. Of course, whoever wins, I'll be happy. If Argentina wins, I'll be happy for Messi. If Spain wins, I'll be happy for Lamine Yamal. Either way, for me, it's a win-win. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts, so let me know. Let me know down below in the comment section. All right, let's move on to the next bit of news, because a report states that it will be highly unlikely that Barcelona will be able to sign Julian Ryerson. Now, we talked about Julian Ryerson during yesterday's podcast. 28 years old, right back, currently plowing his trade at Dortmund. Barcelona have reached out to him and his agent to see if he will be interested, or I should say, to see what his plans are during the summer transfer market, because Barcelona are considering signing a right back, someone that can compete with Jules Koundé, because right now it's just Jules Koundé in the right back, right? We had Eddie Garcia that played in that position and did a good job, but now Eddie Garcia has moved on to the midfield, so it's just Jules Koundé in the right back. So Barcelona considering bringing someone that can, alternate with Koundé, and Julian Ryerson is someone that they identify. Well, now the report states that it will be highly unlikely that Barcelona will be able to sign Jesse Ryerson, because he's an incredibly important player for Dortmund, someone that plays a lot of minutes for Dortmund, so that Dortmund would not be interested in selling him. Now, I got to say, despite this report, I wouldn't completely close the door on this signing, because, hey, when Barcelona comes knocking, most players say yes. So if Ryerson says, yes, I want to go to Barca, I think Dortmund would be forced to sell him, even though they prefer not to. But either way, I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Do you think Julian Ryerson would be a good signing for Barcelona? Yes, no, let me know, maybe. Or maybe. Let me know down below in the comment section. I can't speak. It's pretty late. It's almost midnight. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are in talks to sign a Club Brugge left winger, and it's no other than Jesse BC I hope I said that correctly. Now, if you don't know who Jesse BC is, I sure didn't. He's a 17-year-old Belgium and Ghanaian left winger, but he plays for Belgium. He has both citizenships, though. He currently plays for Club Brugge's reserve team called Club NXT, kind of like, Barca have their reserve team called Barca Athletic. And he's someone that stood out in the Under-17 World Cup in Qatar, kind of like the Egyptian Hamza Abdel Karim, which Barcelona are trying to sign during the winter transfer market. Now, Jesse Bisiwu has a contract with Club Brugge until 2027. He's someone that's known for his explosiveness on that left wing. And this would be also a Barca Athletic signing. And even though the operation is focused on bringing Jesse Bisiwu in the summer, Barcelona are in desperate need of attackers for Barca Athletic right now. So this could end up being a winter transfer market where Barcelona could bring Jesse Bisiwu on loan, start in January, and then with an option to buy in the summer transfer market. And guess what? In January, he actually turns 18, which would make his signing a bit easier. Now, since he does play in Europe, you can sign players under 18 as opposed to the Egyptian Hamza Abdel Karim, who's 17 but will be turning 18 in January. You cannot bring Hamza until he's 18 years old. When you're signing players from outside the European continent, they have to be 18 or older. This is a rule that FIFA implemented to prevent child trafficking. In the case of Bisiwu, he's within the European continent, so we could sign him before he turns 18. But when they're 18, it's easier because now you don't have to, get the parents involved and permissions and blah, 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 blah. But anyways, Barcelona are in talks to sign Jesse Bisiwu for the left wing of Barca Athletic. Let me know if you guys have heard of this guy. Have you seen him play? If so, what do you think of him as a signing for Barcelona? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now let's move on to the next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, it's been revealed that Robert Lewandowski met personally with a representative from Chicago Fire. Now, as I reported yesterday, I think during the podcast, maybe in a video, I cannot remember where exactly, but Lewandowski has an offer from the MLS team Chicago Fire, and it's been revealed that Lewy was actually personally present at the meeting with a representative from Chicago Fire on Sunday. Usually it's the agent of the player that meets with the representative of a club. But Lewy was interested in hearing the offer himself, so he went to the meeting alongside Pini Zahavi, where on Sunday they met with a rep from Chicago Fire who told them what Chicago Fire were offering as far as, salary, bonuses. I'm sure they offered him some kind of percentage of marketing. Those deals are very common here in the MLS. For example, Messi makes not only his salary, but he gets paid a percentage of any Apple subscriptions of people who subscribe to the Apple TV streaming software, which airs the MLS, also gets a percentage of any Adidas merchandise that is sold in the US, or sorry, Inter Miami merchandise. Anyways, that's kind of like the deal that they're trying to put together to lure Lewandowski to Chicago Fire so he could be their Messi. You know how Messi arrived in Inter Miami and pretty much became their savior, where they have won things that they never thought they could win. Well, Chicago Fire kind of want to replicate the same thing with Lewandowski, so they're offering him a pretty good deal, even offered to match his salary currently at Barcelona, and Lewy was there to attend that meeting and hear the offer himself. Now, Fabrizio Romano has denied that Lewy is on Inter Miami's radar, but it looks like he is on Chicago Fire's radar. And regardless of whose radar he's on, as we know, Lewandowski's not going to make any decision until he for sure knows that the door of Barcelona is completely closed, because Lewy wants to stay at Barcelona for one more season. In fact, his agent Pini Zahavi met with John Laporta over the weekend to communicate to Barcelona that Lewy wants to stay another season. For now, Barcelona are not offering any contract renewals, but they haven't fully closed the door. They want to see how Lewandowski performs for the rest of the season, what kind of numbers he puts out, and plus, what are our options in the market. So if Barcelona cannot find anyone else in the market and Lewandowski has a pretty good season, Barcelona could consider extending his contract by one more season. And until then, until Barcelona have fully closed the door, Lewandowski is going to wait, because, again, he prefers to stay in Barcelona. And until that door is fully closed, he's not going to make a decision on where to go next. Now, we will end today's video with the news that Joan Laporta's advisor, Enric Masip, has made some pretty interesting statements saying that the signing of Julian Alvarez is actually possible. Now, this is what Enric Masip had to say. Now, when asked if Julian Alvarez would be a good replacement for Lewandowski, Masip said, "I would say yes. He is a great player, a player with incredible quality, and he is having a great season at Atletico. He's one of the greatest strikers in the world, that's for sure." The president said that Barca must always be in a position to sign whoever it considers necessary to strengthen the squad. "I have no doubt it will be the case after the work we have done on the economic plan and, above all, on the issue of the squad and the salary balance between young players and veterans." Barca could deal with that situation if it arose. I have no doubt that it will be so. So Enrique Masip saying that Barcelona would be able to sign Julian Alvarez. What I would say to Enrique Masip, bro, that's very irresponsible of you. Don't get the Barca fans' hopes up, because given the club's financial situation, we cannot sign Julian Alvarez. They're saying that Atletico Madrid would want something around 180, 190 million euros. That's not something we could afford. And that's not something that we should try to afford, because we already saw Barcelona's debt, right? Yesterday, 1.4 billion euros. The last thing we want to do is go and get in more debt to bring Julian Alvarez to Barcelona. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Viscarsa.